Our Seth Doane went home for the holidays, but he sent us a souvenir with some help from his dad.
Winter brings a raw beauty to Cape Cod, showcasing its natural rhythm, set by the ocean, winds, and ever-shifting tides, which expose yet another pearl of the Cape, oysters.
These guys are scattered all around here, but the trick is to know what one's a live one and what one's just dead shell.
It's a centuries-old search on this peninsula which still captivates and challenges many, including my dad, Paul Doane.
It's kind of like a treasure hunt.
It is like a treasure hunt.
And while it might not appear so appetizing, he's harvesting a delicacy.
This one isn't big enough, but this one is.
Today, oysters are devoured by the dozen at raw bars, and here in the Massachusetts town of Wellfleet, locals insist theirs are the very best.
You can tell a Wellfleet oyster or I can anyway.
What's the signature?
Everything seems to blend well. The salinity, the temperature, the tides that come in, the long flats.
There's a massive 12-foot tidal exchange which floods Wellfleet Harbor, feeding these mollusks which can filter up to 50 gallons of water daily. Oysters often grow in stubborn clusters, quite firmly attached to rocks and shells.
Now you've got 3 good-sized oysters there.
My dad, an 11th generation Cape Codder and former state senator, appreciates the history of oystering and the lack of politics and, well, people out here.
It is a tranquil place, and I find it very therapeutic. And I find that the worse the conditions, the more I enjoy it.
Why?
I don't know, it's just kind of like being out there alone, as opposed to a gorgeous day when people come out in droves.
He holds one of about 900 recreational shellfishing licenses here, allowing him each week a bucket of oysters of a certain size.
You can just tell immediately.
Just off the flats, a warden makes sure folks are following the rules. Her workday runs by the tides.
You have the tides in your calendar?
I do.
Like next to going to the dentist or
Yes.
going grocery shopping, it's like low tide?
I really do.
Nancy Chivetta is Wellfleet's shellfish constable. There's no uniform, but her accessories are on point, an oyster and a clam.
I do that to honor the 2 products that make this town tick.
She's charged with keeping Wellfleet's $8 million shellfish industry healthy and productive.
Of course, we're a tourism town in the summer, but this industry is what makes us survive.
We watched her colleagues, including a man nicknamed Johnny Clam, dump live oysters offshore where they'll spawn in the wild.
They're still the same oysters.
But a majority of oysters harvested from these waters are raised by 135 farmers.
How many oysters are you growing at any time?
Millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
Jake Puffer learned the business from his dad, Irving.
Pass the torch, or the clam rake.
In this case, that's more appropriate.
Their family has roots back to the Nauset tribe, whose ancestors fished in these waters thousands of years ago. The Puffers' underwater farm spans 16 acres, and they work in just about any weather, not deterred by rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night.
We come out in just about anything, but as the mail goes through, so do the oysters.
My dad has his own sort of oyster delivery, too. He can squeeze nearly 12 dozen into that bucket.
But you can't eat 12 dozen oysters.
But I know people that will eat 12 dozen.
So part of his 20-plus-year tradition, only heightened during the holidays, is sharing these Wellfleet oysters with friends. On his drive back home, he stops along the way. First to see Dale and Pete Wade.
These are great. Perfect size.
Oh,
They're so skinny.
As always.
Too.
And then, after dark, pack some for Patty Smith.
When you called and said, do you want some oysters? I don't think I've ever said no.
No, you haven't. Pop that hinge.
At home, the holiday tradition continues.
I like the gathering of them better than the opening of them.
It's a lot of work, at least for him. My mom, Helen, and I generally come in for the easy part.
Good, Dad.
Salty and cold. And good.